was in Germany, it was 2007, months before the economic crisis. I was told by basically every journalist I met that all was well with capitalism, and that my suggestion that our elites take advantage of crisis to push through brutal, unpopular policies was a, quote, conspiracy theory. So we should keep in mind that our so-called experts get it wrong an awful lot. Today, the asphyxiation of Europe became literal, with the streets of Frankfurt choked in tear gas and smoke. But the asphyxiation did not begin today. And I am reminded of 2 winters ago in Athens, when because of the brutal austerity policies prescribed by the Troika, people were unable to pay their heating bills. So Athens was choked in a thick cloud of smoke because people were burning their furniture. These are the kinds of policies prescribed from ever more lavish accommodations by the unelected bankers of the ECB. 4 decades ago, the brilliant Argentine novelist Rodolfo Walsh described these policies as planned misery. And as they prescribe these policies, which are certain to inflame neo-fascism, to steal the dreams of generations, and to spread social chaos, they speak of stability and responsibility. They are in fact the agents of relentless chaos, tearing at the social fabric of Europe. But their crisis, the crisis that they are creating and deepening, goes even further beyond that. We've heard a lot today about the social side of austerity. I want to talk about how ECB austerity and privatization policies are destabilizing the planet itself. In exactly 9 months, there will be a major UN climate summit in Paris, and I hope that all of you will be out in the streets making your voices heard then as well. Because we know already that that summit is going to be a failure, that the pledges, the so-called pledges that our leaders will bring to that meeting will be nowhere near what is necessary to prevent catastrophic climate change. It will be a failure is because ever since the economic crisis hit in 2008, Europe has abandoned its climate leadership. Under the impoverished vision of the Troika, the future itself became just one more luxury that supposedly could not be afforded. Just as so many lives have been sacrificed in the name of a budget crisis, so have the life support systems of our planet itself. This is not rhetoric, this is not abstract. In Greece, Spain, Portugal, and Italy, support for renewable energy programs have been relentlessly slashed in the name of budget constraints. And that's exactly the same excuse that we have heard for why all of these countries are being pushed to drill for oil off their shores, to frack for gas on their lands, to put their water at risk, to mine for coal, to build dirty lignite coal-burning refineries, and this is happening in Germany too. In fact, Germany's historic energy transition is deeply compromised by the refusal of the Merkel government to say no to dirty coal and unleashing fracking for natural gas. Meanwhile, just when we need to be reimagining our cities to move beyond the automobile, just when we need to be lowering the cost of public transit, lowering it down to zero, in country after country, fares are going up. And just when we need to be supporting our rail systems more than ever, making sure that they're electrified with renewables and accessible to all, they also are being cut back and privatized in Portugal, Spain, Italy, and Greece. This is madness.
Und wenn
You know, all around the world, we are being inspired by the incredible movement here in Germany for cities and towns to take back control over your energy grids from the corporations that privatize them, because you know that energy is too important to be left to the profit motive, particularly in a time of climate crisis. It's been incredibly inspiring, and yet it is enormously ironic that the German government and the entire Troika has placed relentless pressure on the countries of Southern Europe to privatize their energy systems. And this is happening in Greece right now, despite the express wishes of the majority of the electorate. Far too often, we stay in our little issue boxes, and the people working on climate and the people working on economic justice don't work together or even speak to each other. It's long past time that we recognize that the fight against austerity and the fight for a safe and stable climate is the same fight, and we need to be fighting side by side. Austerity and a safe climate are fundamentally incompatible. So I have a special message for the ECB today.
Und jetzt eine kleine besondere Message für die EZB heute von Naomi auf dieser Bühne.
You are the true vandals.
Ihr seid die wahren Randalierer.
You are the true vandals, but you work on a much larger canvas. Your vandalism is planetary in scale. You don't set fire to cars. You fire.
Ihr verbrennt keine Autos, ihr verbrennt den ganzen Planeten.
Building on the historic victories of the Greek people. Building on the imminent victories of the Spanish people. Grassroots victories against fracking, against oil pipelines, against coal mines. This is when we say we will not let you do it. This is why today is when we resolve to bring all of the movements in defense of life together into one unstoppable wall.
Heute
Is when we stop you. Today is when we say enough.
Heute
you have said that there is a choice between democracy and capitalism. That's true, but the choice is even more fundamental than that. There is a choice before us between capitalism and the climate. The answer is as obvious as it is urgent. Thank you.
wir haben gesagt,